G'day and welcome to another episode. My name is Daethstro, the Aussie Geek, and today we will be looking at the Transformers the movie G1 reissue of Hound. And here you have Hound. Here's a nice looking G1 reissue. I did have a look at the original G1 toy because I never had it. The color is obviously different. It's a lot more, for the lack of a better term, pretty much the color is matching more of the series and the movie. Because from what I could see, these definitely were different. There was no Autobot insignia here. It was a star. This was all a darker color with some gold. Also, his guns were chrome. And it had some extra stickers and whatnot. So yes, he is different from the G1 to his reissue. But as the title is, it's more cartoon/movie accurate for the most part, using the old G1 tech. And there is one other thing I want to point out, and it's his gun. As you can see, it just sort of sits underneath here because that cannot get all the way up. His arm can go further up, but that gun isn't going anywhere. It's just going to get in the way because there's not enough clearance on here. However, if we have a look at this gun alongside it, you will notice they are very, very similar. Even more so if I move my fingers like so. So it's got sort of this and barrel. It doesn't have this triangle top, and the back end's a little different, but that's more, I'd say, for his shoulder. But this is off my Masterpiece Prowl. And I did have a look at, like I said, at the G1 toy, and he has the same gun. So I can only assume that the original G1 toy, along with this one, had mimicking blasters like the Fairlady brothers. So that's interesting. Because as we will see in a minute, his Masterpiece doesn't have that. But yeah, so he does look pretty good. Articulation is practically non-existent, but it's a G1 reissue. What do you expect? But we can do a size comparison in this mode. So we lift the camera up a little bit. And we can bring in MP10. And I have worked out that this is probably a little bit better than sticking them in front. So as you can see, the top of his head is roughly about just probably his knee, but of course the rocket being a little bit higher. So there we go there. As for other comparison, here he is with MP47 Masterpiece Hound, and as I said, there is his cartoon accurate / movie gun. So colors are pretty close. He's a little bit darker, but as you can see, you know, there's the original cartoon weapon. Here is the toy weapon. So I can only assume, like I said, that that was given to us several of the other figures. If you'd like to see a review of this guy, top right corner for a link. Alright, so one more thing I will get to while I'm in this mode is his missile launcher. Now, as you can see, he has a missile. It's a little bit wobbly, and for the love of God, I cannot get it out. If I pull on that, I'm not putting too much pressure, just enough, I can't get it out. It feels like this should have a missile gimmick, but it's not going anywhere. That's not moving anywhere. It just sort of locks. So like I pointed out in the Star Screen video, there is extra missiles, but unless you break this, you don't need these. By the way, it does come on the runner, so just be aware of that. But as I've said with his gun, his arm can get up this far, but if you look from this angle, there is no clearance whatsoever, and that's as far out as his arm's going to go, and I will point out the details of how his arm actually works in a minute. So there is that. As for articulation, no head swivel, no up or down. Well, there's a little bit up and down, but that's more due to just how the head's mounted. Can't go side to side. Arm can go up that far. Arm can go back that far. It can't go out. It can't go in. There is no elbow joint. There is no wrist swivel. There is no fingers. There's no bicep swivel or anything. You can get a slight reversed ab crunch, but that's going to start knocking his head down. And that's probably the only way you're going to get his gun up straight too. He does have an up and down, but that's more for going into vehicle mode. So I don't think it doesn't really move when you've got it in this mode. Legs can't go up or down. Nope. There is no back or forwards. There is no knee. There is no thigh swivel. There is spy rotation, whatever you want to call it. There is a little bit of up and down at the foot, but that's transformation. And you're going to start moving these, and we'll get to that in a second. There is no in or out or any of that. He's a brick. So honest to God, if you were playing with this figure, the only way to get his gun up straight is literally to use the transformation joint to point it straight. So you have that and nothing else. As for the back here, he is pretty clean, all things considered. Considering that's really the only kibble apart from the tires, if you want to call it that. But it could be just my figure, but my left seat doesn't fold up. And what I figured is if I can show it, where this metal piece here is, it hits the side of the seat. So when I bring it up, it gets stuck about here. So I might be able to shave that. I don't feel the need to because it doesn't hinder the standing or anything. So if yours doesn't go all the way up, that's, I'd say, what it is. But like on this side, it goes straight up, no problem. But it's just hitting that heel there, right here. So I don't know if my seat's just too wide or whatnot, but it doesn't affect his standing. He stands fine. Yeah, he's standing there. He's not going nowhere. He's a little bit of rocky, but that's about it. It's fine. So there we go. So let's get down to transformation. So we'll take the gun out of his hand and we'll throw that in the box of parts. And we're also going to take this off because no, you cannot leave this on while transformation, because I will point out when we do the arms why that is. And that's going to go into the box of parts. All right, so first things first, we're going to flip up this just to get it clear. And we're going to flip up his arms. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring the wheels forward, like so. And they're going to get stuck. Now, it's going to get to this point, you're going to go, well, it won't go any further. We'll get to that part in a minute. This comes forward. You just want it just low enough so they're not going to grab. But what's going to happen is you're going to push the arms in. As you can see here, got these little bits. That's all going to compress. So if you look here, you can see the gap where the gun was. So you can press those. And voila, the gap's gone. And then you can roll the wheels up the rest of the way. Like so. Then we're going to arch him back, and that's going to dislodge basically the connection for his head. So there is his head, there's his knot. There's his head, there's his knot. And we're going to flip these around so that the golden arrow is pointing forward. And what's going to happen is this is going to compress, so this sort of sits just on here. So I'm just about here, try to keep that focused. So this is basically going to sit in this gap, like so. So there's that so-called squash down, but it doesn't work because I'm pretty sure all the mechanism in the back shoots up into here, so that way it locks in place. Once again, the head's free moving. It is what it is. Then we're going to fold the seats back, like so. And we're going to flip the legs, feet, / whatever up until it won't go any further. Mine is a little off center, which that could be due to the way the leg is designed. And it could also be because of the way that is. But it does sit flat for the most part. It just doesn't, sit flat. It's probably a way to fiddle with that, but it is what it is. And as far as I know, prove me wrong, let me know in the comments, this could be, as far as I'm aware, the only G1 figure that had working seats. Even G1 Prime didn't have working seats. It had sort of a solid piece in his chest, but that was about it. So you're going to fold these down, and this sort of groove here is going to sort of sit in the back of his knee. I don't know if you can see it. And that's just going to come down. You can push them back. And then you can angle his windscreen however you wish. And as you can see, he rolls perfectly fine. Yes, you have that sort of wonkiness, but it is what it is. I'm not going to be too picky being a G1 toy. But there you go. And he rolls perfectly fine. But he's not fully displayable yet. So we're going to grab out of our box of bits this, which is helpful. Ugh. Thankfully, it didn't go very far. This is going to go into this hole here. That's his fuel tank, his extra fuel container. We're going to grab this, which is his spare wheel, which is a little bit tight. So just don't go nuts. And last but not least, we have the gun, whatever it's called, that just plugs in the back there. And now Hound is all transformed. Now he is what he is. He's a G1 figure. He has a bit of parts forming. They all have parts forming, even Optimus Prime. But in this mode, you can get a little bit of articulation with the gun. And of course, it can spin, but I'm too worried that one day I'm going to snap that. So yeah. So I don't know what figure you could get that could possibly fit in there. I'm sure you could find something. But yeah, it rolls rather nicely, and it's... Is it rubber? I want to say rubber tires. Surprising. As you did see, I haven't gone into the box or anything because Starscream's box made the points I wanted to, so there was no point really having to do his as well. If you really want to know what his bio says, you can always Google it. As for extra pieces, you can fold his windscreen down and his windscreen back, although that makes it hard for the driver. And of course, there's no steering wheel or anything in there. So there we go. So final size comparison. Here he is with Windblade. So obviously she's a bit taller than he is, and I'll try to do this. So we got some room, but obviously she is longer than he is and wider than he is. So it is what it is. And no, I am not transforming MP47 because no, I don't feel like breaking it. But we can get this guy back into robot mode, and we'll show exactly how these arms work too. So we'll take all the extra bits off. Take that off. Get that off. And take that off. Right, so first things first, we're just going to flip that forward so it gives us some room, itchy nose. We're going to pull these up so it doesn't really tab in, it just sort of sits in there. But then we can sort of close up the seats, rotate the feet as far as they'll go, so you've got it like this, and then just flip those seats up. As I said, this one does go into the back end there, but this one doesn't want to go anywhere, so that is what it is. Alright, then we're going to pull out from here. I always grab the waist for some reason. We can rotate these pieces here. And we're going to get the windscreen out of the way because it's going to get in the way of the head. So then we can fold that down and that pops his head up. So if we do that, and that locks that in place. We can then fold the windscreen back. Now, this is clever. This is very, very smart. So here's the wheels, obviously. And there is a sort of a runway. You can see the groove here. Because what's going to happen is when this folds out, not most of the way, it's going to actually pull the arm out. So if we try to do it without my finger getting too much in the way. So let's see, we'll do it from this angle, might make it easier. Along with a bit of focus. So, oh, there you go. So by the time it rolls to the back and it hits basically this piece here, his arm's out as far as it'll go. If it won't go past the grey bit, just give it a little bit of a pull, but it should sit perfectly fine. So same with the other side. So once again, goes on that track, and providing I've got things the right way around, I think I've got that flat enough. That goes there, and zip. That gives us the clearance. Pull this down, perfectly fine. And once again, we have the gap for his shoulder launcher, so we can get that out of the box of bits. And that just plugs into there. Push it as far as you want, just don't break it. And of course, we can get his gun and angle it just enough so it's going to get past the tires and stuff. Plug that in there, and just angle it as best you can. Like I said, if you want him pointed straight, you're going to have to bend his upper torso, but it looks weird. So there we go. So there is G1 Reissue Hound, and I never had this figure, so this is a nice little surprise. He's simple, which is understandable. He's nowhere near as complex as Starscream, even though I want to say he's got more moving parts than Starscream. So it's interesting in that aspect. I don't think they did any modification or anything apart from the colors and whatnot. Everything else is, I think, is fine. That's a little droopy, so maybe I'll actually get some glue and put just under there and just glue that up to the top of his gun so it's straight, because, like I said, that's not coming out, at least not that I've been able to figure out. So I don't think that angles, no, it's just basically to get that out, I'm going to have to undo that screw, pull all that apart to get that out, but I think I'll just glue that up there because it's not going anywhere, so as long as it doesn't break. But yeah, so he is a lovely little figure, and honestly, I hope that Hasbro releases every single one of the G1 figures in these modified colors and look stuff. Because even though I have a reissue of Optimus Prime, I want to get one that has a trailer on it. I would love to get reissues of all the combiners. Heck, I'd love to finally get that reissue of Hot Rod, which apparently I still can't find. It has either been released yet, or once again I've missed out of it, but hopefully I haven't, because I admit, when I had the original G1 figure, I broke it within 5 minutes of getting it home, which if I ever get it, I'll actually show how I broke it. I won't break it, but I'll show you how I broke it. This is what you get for watching what happens on screen and then trying to mimic shit when you get it home. But that is neither here nor there. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't like this video, give me a thumbs down. I promise you it will not hurt my feelings. Subscribe or ring that bell. Leave me a comment. Let me know of your memories of Hound, whether it's a G1 figure or one of the more recent releases. I would be perfectly happy to hear about all of that. But thanks for watching. I'll catch you later.